Everyone wants to be healthy, right? And there are all kinds of promoters out there suggesting herbs, drugs, foods of all kinds. Here's an interesting one. Spirulina. And note, it's organic. What is it? Well, it's a type of blue-green algae, better termed cyanobacteria. Others derisively call it pond scum, because it really does grow on ponds. It grows on lakes. And the Spanish conquistadores were introduced to this in America when they came to South America by the Aztecs. They were gathering this stuff and making cakes out of it and eating it. Well, in those days, of course, it was not regarded as any kind of a health food. It was just regarded as a food. Well, today, spirulina has become a wonder food, if you listen to its promoters. It's good for everything. It contains antioxidants, it boosts your immune system, which incidentally is a meaningless claim, this idea of boosting the immune system. It's high in protein, which is true, but there are far better sources and cheaper sources of protein than spirulina. There are some studies that suggest benefit, particularly in allergic rhinitis, or hay fever, typically, as we call it. And there actually have been some placebo-controlled double-blind trials which show a modest effect of spirulina on those symptoms. But still, the price does not compare to antihistamines, which have been clearly demonstrated to be beneficial in allergies. But there is one interesting thing about spirulina, and that's the color. It's blue-green algae, and there are several compounds in there that are responsible for the color. One of them is chlorophyll, and spirulina is algae. And these are very, very important in the world because they produce about 50% of our oxygen through photosynthesis. And algae all over the world, on lakes and ponds, etc., produce all of this oxygen. So chlorophyll is a green coloring matter. This is what stores the energy of sunlight to be used in photosynthesis. But there's another compound in here called phycocyanin, and that is the bluish color. So chlorophyll and phycocyanin together give you this blue-green. And the reason that this is interesting is because the coloring now is extracted and is used commercially. Where? Believe it or not, in candies like Smarties. Smarties was challenged when they decided to go, quote, natural with their colors. They didn't want any more artificial colors in there. Not that that is really a big problem. Bigger problem is just eating the sugar in the candy. But blue dyes were available, but they weren't natural. They were synthetic. And people these days don't want synthetic, although there's no real reason not to want them. There's no difference between synthetic and natural. It doesn't matter where you get it. It's not the ancestry of a molecule that determines its safety or its efficacy. However, extracting the cyanobacteria's blue color is now what is used in Smarties Blue. And this has been a godsend for the company because for years they weren't able to produce the blue Smarties because there was no natural equivalent. So there are some interesting things about cyanobacteria and spirulina. I don't think it's a miracle. I think it may be worth a try if you have allergic rhinitis. However, one thing to consider is the price, which is exorbitant. As you can see, this is about $26, which is far more expensive than antihistamines would be. And as a protein source, well, there are numerous proteins, whey protein, for example, that are far, far cheaper. So you may want to experiment with spirulina if you have allergic rhinitis, but don't buy into the other hype about it treating Lou Gehrig's disease or cancer or heart disease, which some promoters suggest. And next time you eat a blue Smartie, well, you'll be smarter because now you know where the color comes from.